Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are all well. Thank you for tuning into Beyond the Forecast podcast. This is the very first live streaming Beyond the Forecast podcast.
Kind of crazy.
We're here. We've done it. From the crazy mind that is to your phones, desktops,
Tablets.
laptops,
Whoa.
labbits. Yes. So this was kind of another aspect of the show that we wanted to bring to everybody.
Yes.
Because this is a way for you to interact with us and ask us questions on the topics and discuss with us maybe things you've seen, things you know, and it's really kind of more than just a podcast. Rather than listening to two people talk or watching two people talk, you get to interact and talk as well.
I mean, you can't just listen to us talk if you want to.
And I wish I could show you, but the chat is up on the TV, so we can see everything that you'll say. So don't worry, we see everything that's coming through, but we'd like to keep focused on the topic. Even though it is opening day, and we could talk hours on the Tigers, which, by the way, before we get started on our severe weather topic, the reason I am wearing this Brandon Inge jersey, she's related to the guy.
I'm related to Brandon.
And then
Hey,
there's
Brandon.
Bill and Rachel.
There's Bill, there's Rachel. Happy birthday, Rachel. It's Rachel's birthday.
Happy birthday, Rachel.
Happy birthday, Rachel. Oh, no, she spilled her water.
Are you like 21 today or something?
23. She's 23.
Oh, 23. My bad.
21.
See, and there. Look, that's a guy from my gaming streams. His name's Army Vet, but Doug here for the first episode.
Thanks, Doug, for being here.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey,
so
Doug.
it pops up. There you go.
Yeah.
See, we can see you all.
Yeah.
So
we know
yes,
what's happening.
Yeah, we know what's going on. Kind of. Sort of.
We're figuring it out.
So first off, we probably should make sure that the audio is working. I didn't test that out.
Nor did I.
Things. But yes, today's topic is severe weather.
Happy birthday. They can hear us. They said happy birthday.
It must be working.
Well, tell Rachel you said that, Doug.
But yes, so that is what our... it is working. Whoa, it is working. Jeez.
Sorry.
So yes, today's topic is going to be severe weather. Obviously, if you caught the episodes of Beyond the Forecast, which happen every day at 4:30 on 9 and 10 News, we've been talking about severe weather all week. And you're going to see that common theme throughout Beyond the Forecast. Is some weeks we have themed weeks.
Yes.
And we talk about those themes. So this week, obviously, severe weather. We're talking about everything
Big conversation.
Severe weather awareness, what you need to know, shelters, tornado formation,
what we see,
Skywarn.
Yes.
That will be in today's episode with the National Weather Service. Definitely don't want to miss that. Haley interviewed Pat Bach from the National Weather Service in Gaylord.
Good interview.
But yes, severe weather. Obviously, severe weather is a huge concern, not just here, but across the world.
Yes.
And it ranges anything from flooding to tornadoes,
thunderstorms,
severe thunderstorms, winds. There's a lot of severe weather out there. So let's start off with kind of some of the severe weather that we see here in northern Michigan. Right?
Yeah.
So we are not immune to tornadoes.
Not at all.
We're not immune to straight line winds or extremely gusty winds.
Not at all.
Which the lakes maybe, make them greater.
Fuel it.
But then we have severe thunderstorms. We have sizable hail. We don't usually get the Central Plains.
Last year was the first time I ever saw hail.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a big thing on the East Coast.
Not a big thing. Especially, I'm close to the water on the East Coast, so it doesn't have a lot to develop.
The atmosphere is a little bit different.
Exactly, but yeah, first time seeing hail last year.
We get hail, and then we get hail's little mini cousin, grapple, here in northern Michigan.
Seen plenty of grapple.
But yeah, so we get these things that
Yes.
Maybe not everybody sees, but at the same time, we don't get them nearly as bad as some other places.
Exactly. There's certain areas in America. Everyone's heard Tornado Valley. It's
Tornado
We
Alley.
are not that.
I think southern Michigan is a little bit in Tornado Alley. But yes, it's...
Yeah.
Well, here, let's talk about Tornado Alley, because Tornado Alley is kind of changing in many different ways, right? Actually, I did a paper on this in college, and the professor kind of laughed at me.
What year was that, Michael?
2008. But Doc told us to write a paper. It wasn't necessarily a thesis, but it was a final paper.
Right.
And my final paper was how Tornado Alley is moving east. Mm-hmm. And now, to I didn't do well on the paper, even though the paper was well thought out. I didn't source. So, of course, my professor is like, you have to source, so that's a bad grade.
You were just going off your own
But he actually
mind.
really didn't agree with me that Tornado Alley was moving east.
Interesting.
But you have to remember, this is 2008, so we didn't have nearly as many outbreaks for
I was going to say,
the
as
Appalachians
someone
as we usually do now.
who graduated in college in 2022,
It's very much
we're taught that Tornado Alley is moving east. It's not
Yes.
even a thought or like maybe it's a confirmation you're taught that Tornado Alley is moving.
And yes, it's a very high thing on many people's lists. That why is this moving east? Is it moving strictly east, or is it just expanding east? That's a bigger question, right?
That is a great question.
But here in the United States, we have a big, how do I want to put this? We have a lot of severe weather because of our unique placement, put it that way.
Yes.
The cold air from Canada and then the warm air from the Gulf.
Yes.
They collide. Usually that's right where you normally see Tornado Alley painted. Mm-hmm. But you're seeing with more warm air, more far-reaching colder air to the south, these more extreme dips and or troughs and ridges, you're seeing things start to expand.
Exactly.
And Northern Michigan, just a few short years ago, had a very large tornado in Gaylord.
Yeah.
EF3. That was very much more of a Central Plains tornado.
100%, yeah.
It was a
that was
Meteorology
your
101
I would say textbook tornado.
Yes, I mean, you could see it on a radar. You didn't have to switch to velocity to see upper air. You could see it, a hook echo. You could see a debris ball. Everything that you learned.
That happens in Oklahoma.
Yeah, that
happened in Gaylord, Michigan.
And that's kind of, what we are relaying this week to prep everyone for. We're not immune to those things.
No, not at all.
So that's kind of, the whole point of our topic of severe weather. Don says, fire up chips. Fire up chips, Don. I'm not a chip.
Neither
Haley's
am I,
not a chip.
but
we still like Central.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But welcome. Appreciate you all being here.
Yes, thank you.
So let's start off with talking about, what we were going to touch last this week on the show. Let's talk about flooding.
Yes.
So flooding is one thing that maybe a lot of people don't see as necessarily severe, because there's many different types of flooding.
Yeah, it's kind of on the last of your mind, depending on where you are, especially as our big location of Northern Michigan. Mm-hmm. Flooding might just be like springtime for you.
Right.
Like it's just, the river swelled because of the snow melting, so we're seeing floods. But the flooding we're talking about, the severe weather flooding, and just in general, that's the widespread rain. The roadways are closed. Bridges are getting collapsed by. That's the kind of basis of the flash flooding that we talk about. Not really your springtime flooding that we see.
Yeah.
It's the things that can change in just about an hour to 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. I mean, flash flooding is like changing now. So that is what mainly is a severe concern. Is obviously flooding is a concern because it is the number one, I believe it is the number one source of deaths throughout the world, weather related.
I believe it.
And it's because it is very sneaky and you don't think anything of it. But when flash flooding occurs, it is instant.
Yes.
You see rivers spill over banks or bust through dams. An extreme case of flash flooding would be like the
Carolinas.
The dam breaking down on the Tittabawassee River.
Yeah.
And flooding Sanford and Midland. And that is flash flooding, where just you have no way of stopping that water. Water, it will always find the least path of resistance.
Exactly.
So that is a big concern. So that is what we're talking about with flash flooding. Yes, Northern Michigan is very different in the fact that we have a very porous ground, very sandy. We don't usually run into a whole lot of flooding unless you're in a low-lying part of a river. You're melting the snow. You have a bunch of rain, 2-3 inches of rain at a time. You see water levels going up. But if you see 10, 15 inches of rain in
straight downpours
a day or two,
that has nowhere to go.
That's a lot of water, right?
Yeah.
And it goes into those tributaries, and you start seeing 5, 10, 15 feet, and that's a concern.
And that's where people think they're better than water, or that they can feed it. Good morning, Tammy. Just like they think that they're better than water. You get into your truck, you get into your car, and you think, I'll just leave it. That's why you might hear the saying like, turn around, don't drown, because water is way, way, way stronger than you will ever think it is.
Very much so.
Can easily hit your F-150,
Yep.
no problem, lift it up from the ground, and you are swept away with that water.
Your 96 Camry is no use against a flowing,
No.
foot of water.
The Honda Civic
6
won't make
inches even.
it.
No, it's not going to work.
You yourself isn't going to make it.
And that's why we say that, but we also say it because you don't know what's under that water.
No, not at all.
So if there's water crossing a roadway, rather than doing the, I get it. As a kid, I wanted to run right through that or drive through
100%.
it. That's what I wanted to
Yes.
do. As a little bit older, and I'm paying the insurance bill. I'm like, I don't
wanna
know.
risk it.
Especially in back roads or in northern Michigan, we have a lot of those dirt roads.
Right.
You don't know if that road is there.
No.
Even if it is paved, you still don't know if that road's there. So that is the concern, and that's why if you hear us say "turn around, don't drown," you don't know how deep that water is.
Exactly. It's almost best to assume that worst case scenario in severe situations is actually happening,
Right.
and be safer in general. Yeah, you don't know what's happening, and even if you were to get out of your car, power lines could be out.
Right.
Electricity and water don't mix.
Just
so
look at your surroundings and see if you
Exactly.
can identify signs that are giving it away.
It's also, I think we see it on the news all the time from other stations or other places in America where you're the only one on the roads.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the only one on the road during a flash flooding,
There might be a
that might
reason.
be your sign to turn around and go home and just stay put for a little bit.
And it might seem daunting. Yes, good morning, Tammy. Good morning, Don. No, we did not go to CMU.
No.
But
John did.
John did. He did. So a little background on that. We can give you that background before we continue our deep dive
Yeah.
into severe weather. I went to Northland College in northern Wisconsin, played hockey, baseball, got my meteorology degree, and then I went out to Minot for 2 years before coming back home. I'm originally from Cadillac. This is
Right.
where I'm from. And then, Central has that pipeline with 9 and 10, so that's where you saw a lot of chips come from. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a pipeline with 9 and 10, but
You're just
it's
a
from
hometown
home.
boy.
Yeah, but Central didn't have a hockey team, and that's what I really wanted to pursue and be able to get my meteorology degree. So
Right.
those two things weren't an option at the time. You, from Mass,
I'm
but
an
went
East
to
Coast
Vermont.
girly.
Yeah, where did you go to
Yeah.
school?
Northern Vermont University. Now it's Vermont State University.
Oh, got an upgrade.
Yeah, which was originally Linden State College.
Oh,
Kind of updated their names the past
rebranded.
5 years, a lot, yeah. That was kind of the go-to meteorology school to go out on the East Coast. If anyone's
Hi, Jade.
weather nerd, you know who Jim Cantori is, you know who all the big names at the Weather Channel.
Yep.
All of them pretty much went to Linden.
Oh.
So that was kind of like the...
The East Coast Met School.
Pretty much, yeah. Every Boston, Rhode Island meteorologist most likely went to Linden. So it kind of was a no-brainer for me when I was in high school for weather
Going
to...
there.
It's like, I think I'm probably just going to go to Linden. And then even former meteorologist Tegan Reeves.
Yep.
She went to Northern Vermont University with me, graduated the year below me. And then right out of college, I stumbled upon here to Cadillac.
You did.
And I've been here since 2022.
It's not Vermont.
It's not Vermont.
We have a lot of big lakes.
Yeah, and no mountains. No offense,
No mountains,
but no
no.
mountains.
Our Porcupine Mountains are just really big hills.
The big hills.
Big hills. So yeah, getting back into our discussion today. Welcome everybody. We appreciate
Yes.
you being here. Hey Tim, this is a live podcast, so if you are chatting or if you have any questions about severe weather or
Right.
beyond the forecast, feel free to type them in. We have them up on the TV so we can see everything going on.
Of course, yes.
But we just discussed flooding, the concerns with flash flooding. Let's turn our attention to maybe more of the frozen severe weather.
Yes.
Because we do have a chance for that this weekend.
Yeah, we do. Haven't seen it in a while. Whenever
I
you
can honestly
see,
say I don't think we've seen freezing rain in probably 3 or 4 years.
I was gonna say
It's been
since
a
I've been
while.
here, I don't think we've seen freezing rain.
last
As
time-
widespread as it's currently forecasted.
Right. The
Maybe
last
little
time
pockets.
we did it, I was live for it. And I
It's-
was in Lake City throwing stuff down roads because it was so glassy. But yeah, it's been a while.
Nothing's fun. Like nothing is scarier, to be honest,
Oh, no.
when you're looking at the forecast models and suddenly. So we have these forecast models that we look at that show us like the next 7 to 10 days. That's
Right.
kind of how we use our degree, and then also use the models to kind of make our
There's a lot of information that is involved with it.
exactly our predictions for what you see on TV. this past weekend when I was updating the graphics for the Saturday show, I'm just clicking along, seeing what next weekend looks like, and then bang, bright red, freezing rain. And I've never seen the bright red before.
Oh, really?
And I was like, oh, what are you? And I was like, oh, ice, freezing rain.
It's been a long time since we've had ice concerns, especially widespread ice concerns. The thing that struck me last weekend looking at the models, it was 30 degrees in the Sioux, 70 in Mount Pleasant. I was like, how am I supposed to explain to our viewers that there's going to be a 40-degree difference from north to south and freezing rain? So, yeah, that's the fun part of meteorology is like, hey, okay, I really have to kind of break this down, but there is a risk of, a quarter inch of ice in some spots.
Yeah,
And so that is why we do have some winter storm watches out there. It's not necessarily for snow. It is for the ice.
It is, yeah. It's, and in situations like that, to be honest, it is the best just to stay home.
Oh, yeah.
Treat it like a snowstorm.
Yep. Because
don't drive.
No. And the thing is, this weekend, if you do have plans, keep your eyes on the forecast very closely because there's a good possibility that roads are just going to be glazed over in some spots.
Especially areas like M72, north area.
M32, Tiffin, Eastern UP. I would not be surprised if you see delays on the bridge, whether it's closed or if it's, limited because of ice accumulating and then melting and falling. The bridge does
and also
that
winds
quite a bit, and winds too. Yeah, the other side of it's a big low pressure system.
We've kind of got just a bunch of it. So that's not your typical severe weather, but it is severe. To a degree.
It's not the immediate threat; it's the long-term threat.
It is,
or a day or two threat.
Because this is like a multi-day. This low pressure system hangs out
Friday, Saturday,
leaves Sunday.
Yep.
So
your weekends kind of squashed.
A little bit, yeah. Sorry. Sorry about that.
But yes, that is kind of what we're going to be dealing with here this weekend. But when you talk about severe weather in the winter form, you talk about extremely gusty winds. I would say the immediate threat is blizzards, obviously.
Whiteout conditions. Yeah.
Black ice developing from those conditions.
Yeah.
That's kind of the severe winter threats.
Yeah.
Are there new severe weather trends?
That's a great question. That kind of goes in with the climate of areas.
I would say from my perspective, Don, is you're seeing things make its way, and we hit on this a little bit at the beginning, you're seeing things expand.
Yes.
So winter-wise, you're seeing the warmer, so a prime example, when I moved here when I moved back home in 2010, the freezing line for things, so like freezing rain to snow, used to be M20.
Right.
And now it's more up towards M32.
Interesting.
And it's continuing to go north over the last 15 years. So you're seeing that warm air continuing to make home with winter systems farther north.
Right.
In the
lake
summer,
effects, the warmer lakes we've had all winter.
Effects. You're seeing more intense
caught that on your first podcast episode.
Yeah.
We talked about that a lot, about just how crazy the lake effect was.
The lakes were still 50 to 60 degrees in December, which was a record warmth that they've ever been at for that time of year. So we were seeing these bands of lake effect that were giving us 20, 30, close to 40 inches of snow. So that is a new trend for winter.
Yeah, it's not like we're seeing like new weather. Like nothing's like, there's not a new system that's developing that we're like, what are you?
You're seeing more and more tornadic activity in northern Michigan.
100%.
Over the last 15 years.
And more just severe, maybe a thunderstorm that happened 10 years ago that maybe you wouldn't have considered as strong is much stronger today. And that's just the warmth.
Yeah, you're seeing the atmosphere, the change in how the dynamics of the atmosphere work with convection. Make its way farther east and north. And that's Tornado Alley. So you're seeing bigger storms. That means heavier rain.
Yeah.
You're seeing months of your rain falling at one time in those storms, so it creates issues. So you're not getting
big
3-4 inches of rain throughout the month. You're
winds.
getting 3-4 inches of rain at a time, which hurts the trees, which hurts the ground. So you're seeing extremes. There you go.
Exactly.
You're seeing the extremes of what
we normally have.
Normal monthly averages of rain. You're getting them at one time, and that doesn't bode well. So
Yeah.
you're seeing more of the extremes, and that is, in the way I was taught in college, it's Mother Nature righting the ship.
Yeah.
So if something's wrong, Mother Nature will always balance. So for every equal and opposite reaction, there's an equal, or for every opposite and equal. For every action, there's an equal opposite reaction.
Correct.
And so if there's no winter, you have no ice.
Yeah.
We go through, it's very warm. What's going to happen? What's going to be the equal opposite reaction? 30, 40 inches of snow come December because the lakes are so warm. Mm-hmm. So the Mother Nature will always right the ship. You might not be happy with how she writes the ship, but it's trying to balance what has taken place.
It's like Star Wars.
You're seeing the
always
extremes.
the Force always wins.
Yes. And that's kind of the new trend that we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
In northern Michigan.
Here in northern Michigan.
We're getting used to, I should say, because it's not necessarily, when you look at averages, you can say, hey, we've averaged so much rain for this month.
Right.
But when it's one day that you've gotten that rain, it's hard to say it was average because it's not average.
Yeah, it's like an above average day getting up. That's kind of how we felt like with the snow last year. Not to like change topics a little bit, but with the severe weather of storm last year, the snow last year, we hit averages or just below averages of snow totals, but it wasn't because we had a snowy winter. It's because the snow we saw, we got a lot of it every system.
Right.
And it's kind of like that's the best way to kind of describe it. When we get hit harder now.
Right.
And that's with every single weather system now. When it's raining, it's really raining. When it's windy, it's really windy.
You no longer see those 2 days of gray skies and just rain showers for 2 days.
Right.
And here's the other thing, and I put this in a video I think a while ago, is, a lot of people like to think, oh, it's never snowy on Halloween.
Right.
I mean, it is a little bit.
Yeah, a little flurry.
As a kid, you always seem to remember dressing up in your snowmobile suit and going out cold and you can't do anything. But the problem is that might have been one or two Halloweens, but it sticks in your brain because it was obviously very different.
Right.
So the reason that this is, this sticks in your brain more is because it's not used to what we were used to back then.
It's not your norm. Yeah.
So like when you see, it was so much colder in the winter, back when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it probably was. But the thing is, that was one winter that stuck out in your brain because you were always off of school or you had to walk through that. Or,
yeah.
There's reasons.
Or your parents always talk about it.
Right. So when Grandpa says, I had to walk up both ways to school
in the freezing cold.
In a foot of snow. He may have done that, and it sticks to his brain, but he didn't do that every day.
Exactly. It's that there was a running joke in the newsroom last spring. I think in like April or May, we got like 78 degrees. And we were chasing that high all summer long. It was like, remember in May when we had 70s and like we were like in the 60s a little bit in June, and you were like, all right, guys, that was one day. Don asking again, what's the new about severe weather that you are excited about?
Technology and forecasting. Oh, that's a really great question. To be honest with you, and we have a planned episode coming up on this here very shortly. I am excited for the new radar upgrades across for the National Weather Service. You might recall in the last few years they upgraded to Doppler radar dual pol, and we have more ways of seeing in the storms. But Doppler radar is sending out
a sound wave.
Yeah, a sound wave that bounces back and relays the information. Now they're looking to upgrade to phased array, which phased array, instead of a sound wave, is a big panel that takes the place of the radar. And you can see more, and it does more. So you can see more of the atmosphere, the building, and then you can also see farther based on what is happening with the radar.
So Manistee County, you're not going to be in the dark anymore.
Lake effect might still be in the dark, but storm-wise, it should be much better.
Yeah.
The upgrades, so to give you an idea, Doppler radar is
old.
70 plus years old.
Researching on it the past couple days, World War II.
World War II. Yeah, they put it up in Hawaii, and that was the first use of Doppler radar. And when they saw Japan coming in, they didn't know if it was working or if it was broken. But that was the first time Doppler radar really worked.
They were able to see aircrafts with the radar.
And in fact, Doppler radar, the reason that it was implemented in the way it has been implemented for the National Weather Service, back in 1948, they had the very first tornado warning issued from an Air Force base in Oklahoma. So they're like, wow, we have this way of keeping everybody informed during this
we can help the
weather.
military and we can found storms.
And so they use that Doppler radar technology.
Yeah.
The weather technology that we use is all based off of old military
Pretty much, yeah.
improvements.
We take the best of the best from the military and then we implement it.
Doppler radar came from the Army, and then phased array, I believe, is coming from the Navy.
I believe so, yeah.
And it's just, they've improved on it, and it's really, really good now. So that is something I am really looking forward to, because it will give us a better view of storms quicker, because it updates faster. You'll see things rather than, on a radar it goes bloop, bloop, bloop. It will be smooth. Because
Yeah,
it gives
I'm
you
really
a reading
excited about
every
that.
minute rather than every 5 minutes.
Right.
So you can see things as they're happening much smoother, and you'll also be able to see much better into the storms as they approach. So you won't have to. Radar indicator will be much better than it is right now with Doppler radar.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too, especially when it comes to, we talk about for severe weather, updrafts. That should give us a really nice picture of like what's actually happening in the atmosphere. Jaden again?
Jaden's so
he wants
awkward.
something because he
He's on
keeps
the
on
camera.
stopping at the camera.
You're so awkward walking by. What?
You're fine.
It's so weird.
Talking about you now. Yeah, I'm excited for the phase array radar because that should help us actually see what it looks like coming out of the atmosphere from a different perspective that we normally can't see.
Correct.
So I think that's going to be really exciting. Forecasting wise, I'm always excited to see how each season is when it comes to the summer season, how hot we get, if we get any. I personally love thunderstorms. I never want it to be super severe, but I do love, especially being here now in Michigan, I love watching it come over the lakes and then hitting the Lake Michigan shoreline and then either dying out or really redeveloping. So I'm excited about that.
I think this technology, like what we're doing with you guys right now, this is benefiting weather in many ways as well. Being able to just pick up a camera, grab an internet signal, and go chase or go show weather as it's happening, that is a massive thing to show and relay what's going on. Because when you think about severe weather, if Mount Pleasant's getting severe weather and it's sunny here, like you don't think, oh yeah, like whatever, I don't see it, it's not happening.
Out of sight, out of mind.
But the fact that we can be in the middle of it safely and show that technology is also helping a massive amount of the weather community.
Yeah.
Good morning, Amber. Yeah, that is going to be that's huge in the technology business for weather, just internet signal being out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I think like the movie, not to get pulp culturally, but the movie Twisters, I think on that aspect of it did a really good job explaining how storm chasers work.
100%.
Because everything fits so tiny if you watch the movie. In that van, in that truck, they had everything. And that's really how tiny these instruments are now.
Well, look back at 2008 when Reed had that show on Discovery Channel, Tornado Chasers or whatever it was. Like
Great show.
The Doppler radar, what was it? Doppler on wheels?
Yeah.
They had a massive van that had everything in it. Now you can have a small car with everything in it.
Yeah.
Like that is how far we've advanced in just
Well, it goes to show too, you used to
15 years.
Growing up watching storm chasers, they were trained professionals. They were meteorologists doing it. I'm not condoning this at all. But in our 15 years, you now see college kids going out to storm chase. I don't think that's the smartest idea. I'm not saying that's a good idea.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, smartly.
Smartly.
But you can now have it on your phone. You can pay $5 a month or even $5 in general for radar scope, and you have close to the same equipment that these regular amateur storm chasers who maybe have a degree or have been researching this for years have. Reed Timmer is in a different field of his own. He's ahead of the game always. But you can now just be a college kid going to storm chase if you want to. Like it gets a lot of people now into weather that normally haven't been into weather. So always exciting with the new little advances we get.
And some of the before we kind of switch.
Amber says we should make
topics.
A storm chasing team.
We should make a storm chasing team. I would love that. We barely have the bodies to forecast for you guys. But forecasting is also making advancements too. The Euro just updated to 366 hours out. So
Which is
just like
great because the Euro's great.
Right. The Euro is, so if you guys don't know how forecasting works or models, you have Euro, the GFS, the HER, NAM. Like there's a bunch of different models that spit out different equations for if everything were to hold the way it is. But
it's what we show you on Future View.
Right, exactly.
When we show you guys Future View on the
that's
show.
A model.
Yeah.
And I usually use a HER for 24 hours because
Same.
it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But for long term, 7 days beyond, Euro is kind of much better than the GFS.
Yeah.
But regardless of all that, those are making advancements as well.
Which is great.
Which is great because it allows us to see more.
And
down
they're
the
getting more
road
accurate.
More accurately, correct. And it's not just for us. Locally, it's,
everywhere.
globally.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing too. Before we get too wrapped up in everything, before we get, it has been 30 minutes, so we'll have 5 more minutes here to kind of give some closing thoughts. If you have any more questions, go ahead and type them in chat.
Yeah.
Our topic today is severe weather. If you want to catch the Beyond the Forecast show that we do every day, 4:30 on 9 and 10 News. If you miss it, don't worry, it'll be on the 9 and 10 News YouTube channel, and also on the 9 and 10 News website. Just go to 9 and 10 News and click Beyond the Forecast.
Is it on Zeme as well?
It is on Zeme as well.
So you can check it out on Zeme.
So yeah, you can check it out on there too.
And all the little segments too are online too.
Yes.
So.
So it is a half-hour show, not a forecasting. There's no 7-day for you. We're not giving you your local forecast. We are giving you the science behind the weather.
Yes.
The things that we were taught in school that we don't really discuss in forecasting.
Right.
We have that time now to give to you. So that is what that show is all about. And every
Very
day,
exciting.
4:30. Okay, so let's get our last little thoughts here on severe weather.
Yes.
If you want to watch this podcast back or listen to it, it'll be up later today, tomorrow, across social platforms. But overall, severe weather is something that you do need to have a plan for.
100%.
We've gone through many things this week about shelters, what you need to have in your shelters.
How you can spot one.
Make yourself a plan
Yeah.
because sometimes you do not have time to sit and be like, what should I do?
No.
Have that plan in place in case that severe weather moves in and hits you. Because you don't always have 5 minutes to think.
No.
Sometimes it's just a few minutes.
And we do our best as meteorologists to prepare you guys, especially as we start heading into the severe weather months. But as things are calm right now, this is just a great reminder as you're doing like maybe your spring cleaning. Start making a bag. Start having your plan. Clean out your safe space. I know everyone has that one closet. Maybe that's their little thought where they're going to be if a tornado or something bad were to hit. Make sure it's all good to go because want to make sure everything's ready for the summertime.
Right, 100%. And so it's something to do with the kids. Sit down and be like, hey, listen, if we have severe weather, we're not home or, we're doing something. This is what needs to happen. And
John has some great explainers too of online too of making it kid friendly. This isn't just like you don't have to like fully understand weather to watch the show either.
It's meteorology 101.
Exactly. There's experiments, there's everything. So
and we
got you covered.
We have today's episode, we have an interview with the National Weather Service talking about
how you can help
Skywarn.
them and us. Be a Skywarn trainer.
Tomorrow we have a cool little experiment showing convection. So if the kids need to learn how convection works, we'll have that laid out for you.
Yeah.
And then going into next week, it's a free week for us where we talk about a lot of things.
Everything,
It's not one specific topic. And we'll be deep diving into a lot of things you might have thought about, but you might not have thought about too.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving your time. Great show. Have a great day. You guys do a great job on 910. Thank you, Tammy.
Thanks, Tammy.
Appreciate you.
Amber, you should watch opening day.
I will. 7 o'clock. I will be on my couch.
I'll be sleeping, but...
Well, the Wings play at the same time, so I'll be bouncing back and forth, but yes. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Violet.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate it. The very first live podcast on Beyond the Forecast. We appreciate it. If you missed anything and you want to watch it back or listen to it, it'll be on the socials that you're watching.
You can even ask questions there, too.
Yes,
we might either respond
we'll
or we can pick it up next podcast if it's relevant. So we'll see.
So I am Chief Meteorologist Michael Stevens.
I'm Meteorologist Haley Fischetti.
Appreciate you all being here, and we'll catch you on Beyond the Forecast today at 4:30, and then we'll catch